All right, I think we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the stream for some more Friday Night Puyo. We've actually got the recent release of Puyo Puyo Su on Fightcade, which is what we'll be watching tonight. As someone who's not very into the different versions of Puyo, I'm a little interested to see how the older game holds up because I know fundamentally it functions very the same. So I'm curious if there's any little intricate differences that I'll notice from some of the players that we have playing tonight that might give some of our competitors a little bit of an edge over those that may come in as foolish and assuming as I am tonight. So I'm not positive about our first matchup, but I know we've got 8 wonderful individuals that will be playing tonight. First seed will be Void. So for those of you that tune into a lot Friday Night Puyo, you'll definitely know Void, and we'll see if they're able to come out victorious out of this small group of 8s. But obviously, it's Puyo Puyo, a lot of games to be played, a lot of upsets to be had, and no player is safe no matter what goes on. So I think we've got Juicy and I think Shobaru is how it's. So if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Okay, there we go. And I think we're going. Okay, all right. Just a little extra bit there just to be safe. Although I guess the one thing now that started to trigger in my brain as well that I've completely forgotten about, but I remember hearing from some of the more veteran players. Well, actually, maybe it's not in Puyo Puyo 2. I might be thinking of Puyo Puyo 1. Where the garbage tends to favor the left side at the start, but I think at this point it doesn't seem like that was the case. Right now, Juicy has to be really careful. Their greens and purples are, I mean, they've dug down through it, but you have to be really careful going for these extensions. All right, letting off power 2. I think this will be the full from Shobaru. Its chain's going to be launched off. Oh, the 3-chain follow-up from Juicy, but I don't think they realized Shobaru sent the entire chain, the whole enchilada. That's a 10-chain, and unfortunately, Juicy's not going to have the resources to bring that one back. So Shobaru will take the first round. And I guess now I actually get to see... I forgot to see... I don't get to see everyone's characters until the very end of the match. A lot of early reds, which makes this a little bit tricky. We can see Shobaru. It's gone over to the GTR setup on the left. Meanwhile, Juicy, I think, is going for kind of a pseudo GTR on the right side, maybe? Although right now they have a... Oh, yeah, I think they were trying to go for a bit of a power chain to hold things off. Shobaru going to snuff that one out. The weakness, the 5-chain, all clear, just to add insult to injury. Okay, and for some reason, Shobaru's character okay, maybe that's just the characters aren't the same every time. I don't know. Juicy seems to have been RL the past 2 times, but I don't know if that's actually if that's under the player's control in Puyo Puyo 2. All right, Juicy's stacking up for what could be quite a hellfire if they manage this. Beautiful, strong 3. Actually going to get a 5-channel. Wonderful use of resources. But Shobaru has done a pretty solid job building up. I believe this is another all... Okay, no, 1 yellow shy. Almost getting an all clear on almost... What was that, 8-chain, I think, from Shobaru, or 7? Extremely close. Yeah, 3 quick rounds already. And it's first to 5, so they only need 2 more, and they can close this out. Excuse me, it can close it out. Okay, yep. And it's going for another GTR setup on the left side. GC, I think, trying to work with a bit of a flatter build on the right side and then finishing up a little bit. But they seem to build up not only just like the tail on the left side, but also what is to be extended on their trigger. I don't know, or maybe I'm just not prepped at looking at the vision currently. Very strong 4 comes out from Shobaru, but Juicy has enough to fend off. Actually going to lose that interaction. Meanwhile, it's going to launch off the 5-chain, which in Puyo Puyo and... Oh, actually, I think any Puyo Puyo, that's going to be definitely a top out in and of itself. And that's already for, we could be on to our last game. If Shoburo is able to take yet another round, JC going to need the magic of the reverse sweep to bring this one back, but it's not impossible. It is Puyo Puyo. I believe going for kind of a little bit of, not exactly sandwich, but sort of on that chaining scheme. Could have a pretty strong power too. Okay, actually going to commit the resources to a 3-chain. Does still leave open their chain. And I think Shoburo is going to have to launch its own. A couple of things are going to cut, which might make this harder to read from Juicy. But actually, that tail works beautifully in 8-chain. Shoburo in complete control that entire time. And although Juicy made a valiant attempt trying to get a couple of pokes here and there was no weakness in Shoburo's chaining style. And that is going to be a very clean 5-0 for our first set of the night. So, wonderful job to it. They will be going on to, which I guess in this sense is already winner semis, since we are, I mean, if there's 8 players, we're all already in top 8. I guess that's how it works, right? I kind of forget that that's how the bracket works sometimes. Forgive me. So I guess if we're going to be going in this order, well, I probably shouldn't make any predictions about what match we'll be seeing next, because I can't wait to talk about 2 players specifically, and then, oh wow, we're already into our next set. Oh, perhaps the set might have already been going, but it is 2-2 between Ferret and I think Oz, if I'm correct. I hope I'm not saying Oz's name wrong. You can see, oh no, the purples don't link for an 8-chain, but Oz only has a 6, and that's so much garbage. They're just gonna take the loss for that round. But I think it was, from the looks of it, seemed to be a pretty good back and forth. At the very least, the set is going back and forth. So, looks like both Ferret and Oz both have decided the GTR on the left side is going to be a strong decision. All right, 1 row of garbage. The Thorn from Ferret going to put in some work. 2-chain, fending off the 2-chain. Oz will get a little extra bit of some nuisance Puyo on the Ferret's board. It is not in any bit of a worry. Really strong 2, could set up for another power 2 if they have a purple trigger. But you can tell immediately because both players are being very fast with their Puyo placement. So when the Puyo is just like slowly falling at base speed, you know they're board watching each other. Oh wait. Oh, Ferret. It needs a green trigger. Okay, no, gonna just trigger a little bit earlier, but that's a 10 from Oz. I don't think this GTR has it in store. It would have needed a really good trigger over on that right side, and unfortunately, the Puyo pair it needed never came in time. All right, and we're back to even Steven, 3-3. Lots of very early purples. My goodness. It's almost like there's a all clear just waiting to be found. All right, and Ferret's board was a little bit tricky around that left side, so they're going to let the 4-chain rip. And so it now has to... Oh, that's a 5. I'm not sure if it has enough resources. They do take about, what is that, 4-ish rows of garbage, I think? Okay, and looks like they, decided not the greatest situation to try and make a comeback from. So it's going to top out. And Oz right now is on match points, but is not out of the woods just yet. He can still make quite a comeback. I mean, 2 rounds in Puyo Puyo is not exactly it's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to just, take 2 games regardless of skill level. Seems like a really big gamble on the 2-chain, but I believe it snuffed out the weakness of Oz's trigger. They're going to be trying to dig down as fast as possible. Does Ferret have enough tools? Yeah, they have a 3. And Oz, I don't think it's to a trigger. It's a 2-chain, but it's not enough. It will keep them alive. Another 2-chain comes out. Everything is getting buried so quickly. And I believe the early gambit from Ferret will pay off as we're on to a tiebreaker between Ferret and Oz. Oh, okay. All right. Finally, we see the third and fourth color. It took a while. Everything was looking... Was that yellow and red? Actually, really liking this tail strat from Ferret. Almost kind of a 1-1-2 that's staggered a little bit. I think they're just going to launch all their resources. Just go for gold. That is a 6-chain, and I don't think Oz has enough of a tail ready. I believe the set will go to it. Yeah, that's 5-4 for Ferrets. And a very wise decision to let all of those resources go. Very, very close. But fortunately for it, that is going to be the deciding game in Game 9, which will allow them to advance. And so now we only have one more of our round 1 matches to be had, I think between Martini and Void. Winner of that will be playing Ferrets. In the meantime, we've also had Spacey and Notestar. Spacey was the player that turned out victorious from that matchup, so we will see Spacey versus Shobru on the other side of winner semis. But I mean, already we've only got to witness, just a couple of rounds of Puyo Puyo, but already just it's. I mean, Oz had like a 10-chain. I think as soon as we started spectating, Ferret had some incredible just board reading and just said, you know what? This 2-chain is going to win me the game. And it's one of the hardest things to see when a harassment chain or a disruption, even if it's something that's just like a 1-chain thorn, is going to give you a huge advantage. But Ferret just put on an absolute show of exactly what that kind of play looks like, even if you might not be in the caliber where you feel comfortable against the long chain style of interaction that we can see in some of the Puyo Puyo matchups. Especially, I know in my own experience, I'm not the greatest at making disruption chains, so usually it's just, okay, can I chain longer? But even that in itself was a very scary game to play. I'm going to be honest, for some reason, I need to double check if I'm... hold on, are we streaming on... Is it Friday Night Puyo? Could have swan... Oh, no, that's not... Thought I was following this channel, but I don't think I am. How do I find this? Friday Night Puyo. Where are we streaming from? I guess we'll find out at some point. Anyways, once I eventually figure out how to view chat, hope all of you lovely folks are doing well today. And I'm gonna have a stellar weekend. Honestly, I remember I wasn't the most, I think, excited initially when I heard Puyo Puyo C was going on to Fightcade, primarily just because I've already played a decent bit of it on Nintendo Switch Online. But I do think the connectivity of Fightcade is pretty superior. And from the looks of it, I haven't witnessed any sort of difficulty in connection between the two, or almost any latency for that matter. Oh, okay, all right. I see. I've been Discord messaged the stream, so I should be okay. Let me go grab chat for a second. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, and we're already on to our second match. Shobru versus Spacey. So Shobru has already achieved 1 win. I'm a little skeptical of this tail, but I trust Shoburo has it under control. I'm not certain if it's aware how exactly that right side is going to link. There's a couple of cuts, power 4 and power 6, I think, in that chain totally. Meanwhile, on Spacey's side, oh no! Oh, the purples didn't connect. No, it doesn't matter. Huge power 7 into power 8, or excuse me, just a regular 8. But that is already well more than enough garbage in order to take that round. And so we've got a set. It's 1-1. It looks like we've got some purples coming in as our 4th color for the sequence. So we do see more of that left side GTR, tried and true from Shoburo. Shady going for the right side GTR. And I think preparing a bit of stairs on top. I'm a little lost at where exactly this trigger is going to show up. Oh, huge power too. And although there's a lot of thought going on Spacey's board, not a lot of Puyo were sitting there to make it happen. And so right now, Shoburo, it's going to take the second game. And where is our 4th color of Puyo? Oh, just going for the 2 chain. However, 4 comes out from Spacey. A little bit more efficient use of resources. And, okay, Shoburo does have... well, no, that's not going to link. They have enough of material... like or excuse me, it has enough material on the board to make some magic happen. It's just a matter of, can it find the most efficient way to have all of the Puyo collide? And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. All right, well, we do see the power 3 using roughly all their resources, and all of the digging that it's done has forced Spacey into a pretty subpar position. So we do see 3-1. Shoburo, this time around, is not going to go for GTR. Is this... not entirely certain. I think we're going to have Sandwich from Spacey potentially. All right, just going for power 2. Triggers on the purples are still online. But given the stacking that I'm seeing from Shoburo, I don't know what the trigger is going to look like. Oh, they get cut off on columns 2 and 4. And that is an instant top out. No way to delay the inevitable from that point. All right, and well, we will see. Oh, we know. Okay, yeah. The all clear. Wait, no. Wait, did I misread colors? I thought we had all clear there. Maybe there was only 3 of the reds, perhaps, or purples. It was definitely really close to. Oh, I think Shoburo was looking for one. That's so close. It is a 4 chain, and I don't know if Spacey has... okay, it's a very unfortunate. Was extremely close to grabbing another, but just was not able to. Very efficient 4 from Shoburo. Puts them, or excuse me, puts it on match point. And so let's see what Shoburo decides to do. We're gonna need a green on that column 3. Okay, we are getting a very nice tail from Shoburo, but I feel like Spacey's chain on the left side is a lot safer. Oh, and that 3 chain immediately cut Shoburo off. Not able to get the trigger off in time. And I do think Spacey had enough room to recover if it needed to do so, but still, it's okay, a little bit of a weird greens on column 2 for Shoburo will make extending on the front really tricky. In contrast, Spacey has some flat reds on their left. Should make things pretty reliable to extend. Are they gonna extend on the yellows? Yeah, not worth it. I'm just gonna let that full chain go. Oh, the greens don't cut because they cut even earlier. And so now it's a battle of the tails. How will this chain work from Shoburo? We get 9 chain versus 9 chain. And although Shoburo loses the interaction, only around 2 rows of garbage. So it has a little bit of work cut out. See, Spacey, I'm not really following this chain beyond the purple trigger. And I think Shobru, it noticed that it's going to need a very large chain, making, what is that, an 8 chain on top of all that garbage. It's going to retaliate, and I believe that will be game, set, match for Shobru. 5-3, building on top of all those rows of garbage. We saw Spacey trying to make that effort just from the advantage sheet. I thought that they could chain, or excuse me, it could chain longer than Shobru, but in response, we saw Shobru bust out almost what could have been a 9 chain, I think, if some of the garbage was a little bit more conveniently placed. But still, fantastic showing from them in, if what I recall is correct, I think 5-3 fashion. However, on the other side, I just checked our challenge bracket, and I see 2 5-0s from Void. So they have booked their spot into winners finals to face Shobru, which I believe might be or potentially our next streamed set. However, I don't know if we will be getting some of our losers matches going, since at this point those will be most of the matches we're going to see quite soon. But I guess with the functionality of Fightcade, I didn't really consider it. It makes spectating a lot easier, doesn't it? Because I'm pretty sure you can just kind of hop into a match and then hop out, which is really, really nice. I think currently we're working on getting our next sets on here and there. Let's see. Oh. I see. Oh. Oh, almost had a. Oh, the share got canceled. I can see it on the stream, so I can do delayed stream. Okay, all right. Here we go. 4-1. So Juicy is on match point, since we are still 1st to 5. Interesting. Okay, power 2 from Juicy, and yeah, Noster did not have a lot of resources. Oh, and the blues get cut off as well. This is going to be a bit of a tricky dig. Meanwhile, Juicy has quite a bit of free time to work out the rest of their chain. Just going to let things whip with a 4. Oh, and Noster almost managed to get the dig, but unfortunately there were not enough reds in column 2 and 3 that could connect. And so Juicy will take the set 5-1. And I believe that puts Juicy in, if I'm not mistaken, I think in our top 6. Trying to scroll through on challenge. It's being a little finicky to me. I'm sorry. If I can actually... Okay, let's see. Who's it? Yeah, so that should be a top 6 for Juicy. So at this point, we have 3 sets that could potentially be happening. So on our winner side, we have Void and Shobru. Both of them have already guaranteed a top 3 finish. And in our losers quarterfinals, we have Spacey versus Oz, as well as Ferret versus Juicy. I feel bad that I'm not really getting too much into how each player is able to tackle things. But in my defense, the sets are 1st to 5 with Puyo, which is sometimes those can go faster than 5 minutes. So I will say a couple of the volleys that we have seen already, just from, like 2-chain poke, 2-chain poke, 7-chain, 8-chain, has been really refreshing to see. I guess on stream we're also getting a little bit of insight into the player dialogue in between sets. So for Ferret, it said that the coffee is both a buff and a nerf. I don't know how many of everyone in chat are avid coffee drinkers. I know when I've been around certain things or going to different places, people have been like, "Oh yeah, there's a bunch of Starbucks here, or a bunch of other places," and I don't know. Well, I don't think that I don't like coffee. I think I was given coffee prematurely as a child and therefore did not enjoy it. Because 8-year-old or whatever, child me did not exactly need caffeine. And so I just had like bitter coffee and was like, that's not hot chocolate. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not that much of a soft drinker either. Yeah, I am probably a little bit more of a water gang, like Noster was saying. I will drink a good. Actually, if I'm not drinking water, it's probably lemonade. Lemonade's a very nice compromise, I think, in terms of not really heavy in the soft drink category, but still has a lot going for it. Okay, and so Void is doing some very nice column 1 and 2 chaining. Looks like it's going to be some L-shaped chain. I believe green is trigger. Are they going to stairs extend that? Actually, right now they're still just finishing off their tail. And I love that placement with the green and yellow over in column 4 and 5. Because that helps get all of those yellows in, just squeezing as much out of the chain as possible. I think that was 5 from Shobru, but power 7 into 8. And you can see the efficiency from Void is almost unparalleled. And so it's going to top out. Void will take game 1. But since we have made it into top 4, this will be a first to 10 set, so we will get to see a little bit more from both Void and Shobru. Especially from Void, since we have not seen them yet at all, I think, on stream. Alright, power 2 early on, and Shobru historically has been pretty comfortable leaving that left side of GTR untouched. 2-Chain is not going to fight back on the full 3. A lot of those resources are getting buried. Oh, was extremely close to getting an all clear, but that will be all but one Puyo on the resource department. However, there is a power 4 into 5 from Shobru. Void going to fight back with a 3-chain, but that is going to be quite a bit of garbage. Needs to get some purples, greens, make sure they can use everything that they possibly can. Meanwhile, Shobru has stacked like a mad lad. Not sure what its chain has. Is that okay, it's going to end at 6. Void manages to fight back, still accepting a good helping of garbage. Needs to dig down to some of those purples and blues a little bit. But thankfully for Void, they do have quite a number of resources still available. 3-chain will fight back against the 2-chain. Another 2-chain from Shobru trying to send anything they can over to Void. Because it knows that Void has quite a helping of resources. Huge 3-chain. Immediately going to top out. But if you notice, right before it disappeared, the score difference between both players was, I think, barely 3,000 points. And especially with how exponential some of these points can go in Puyo Puyo, that is mad impressive. And I think we're going to have a little bit of some GTR into what I believe is going to be sandwich from Void. Meanwhile, should be a really strong power... Oh no, power 3 into 4 from Shobru, and Void, I believe, miscounts. And so the poke from Shobru will take a round. Before Void even makes it to a third of the way to match point status, Shoburu does take a round. Oh. And in a little brief recess, having some carbuncle on stream. Hope this is what everyone was anticipating fondly. Oh wait, hold on, wait. Who's playing single player? What? Who is it? What? Are we having a show match versus the AI here? Does someone need like a bathroom break and we're kind of prepping it? I can't tell. Which side is the player on? I can't even tell. Oh. The reset. Okay. Alright, I think we got both players. This is player 2 of 2. Alright. I think that's it. Okay, both players are back at it. Alright, okay. Just a little brief break. Alright. Okay, sick. Void didn't find the game start button. I see. That could be slightly problematic. Alright, we've got L-shape right now from Void, GTR from Shoburu. The yellows are going to be a little tricky. I don't know if there's anything in the tail that Shoburu has to make use of those. It's going to have to be really careful. Really strong 3-chain poke from Void. It will instigate the full chain from Shoburu. A lot of cuts happening, which will trigger a 7-chain in its entirety. Power 3 into 4. Oh, the blues are going to cut. Only gets to a 6-chain. And unfortunately for Void, that extra tail, which might have sealed them the victory, is not going to be able to be accessed. And so it's going to get its second game, Shoburu, keeping toe-to-toe with Void, our number 1 seed for tonight. Oop. All right, a little bit of awkward reds on that left side, so Void opting to just clear them out now. Oh, that's a really strong 3. And purples were not looking good on column 2. With the added bonus, well, not really bonus in Void's board, but needing to trigger with greens. And Shoburu is excellently timed attack. Excuse me, we'll take another game off of Void. Okay, I'm a little curious what this chain from... Okay, just huge power 1 into 2. Shoburu tries to tank as much as possible, but unfortunately tops out in the process. Not really a good move there to make. A little bit of a Zuzwang. I probably enunciated that horribly. I apologize. But... So is this a, wait, what is this called? Well, we have 3-chain from Void, as I believe they're just going to set up GTR over on the right side. A noticeable absence of purples, which is quite problematic. They're just going to launch a strong power 2 to make use of their resources, and thankfully that earlier poke from Void will cause that disruption chain to earn them yet another round. And so it's 4-3 between Void and Shoburu. Alright, very few greens showing their face. Okay, there we go. Finally, both players getting to those greens, able to really start putting in some work. I don't like that column 6 right now for Shoburu. Not sure if that's where the trigger was supposed to be. I don't think it is, but relying on power 2s for the entirety of the game plan is a risky decision to make. So we see the 3-chain comes out from Void. Shoburu is not cut off from all resources, but is pretty close to. Another power 2 comes in from Void, and that will seal the deal for our game 8. Void takes yet another. We are 5-3. All right, both players again off to the races. A lot of early blues. Or I don't know, maybe it's cyan. Oh, the double purple is essential to help Void get that trigger off. nearly an all clear on 5-chain. However, Shoburu finds the all clear, but it's not gonna matter. They have exactly 11 rows of garbage. Or wait, oh no, 11. It's fine. It's under 12. They have enough to launch that all clear, but this is not a lot of room. Get some 1-chain. We're still in the digging process. Unfortunately, finally, the RNG is not going to work out. Okay, and I'm seeing from chat, Ferret is informing me LLR is well, I'll recognize it when I see it, but that one chaining style that I saw that I didn't know. There's a lot of chaining styles I'll see that I don't know, but I'm like, I can kind of follow along. It's 4, but that's 5 from Void. That's probably going to be death right now for Shoburu. And so Void right now has brought together a pretty commanding lead. I think that's almost 5 games in a row. And 7-3 for first to 10. Shoburu is really going to have to start clawing back some momentum if it wants to earn its way back into a grand finals contention spots. Obviously, even with a loss, regardless of whether it's Void or Shoburu, going down to losers finals, you'll only need to win one more in order to advance to grands. But if you've already gone through all of the stress to make it to winners finals, might as well try and book that extra buffer set. Oh, power 8, leaving only 3 yellows. As we see, the 8-chain comes in as well, using almost all the resources for Shoburu, but it's still not going to be enough to counter Void's 8-chain. And I think, yeah, definitely Void with some powers involved in that one. I don't know if I missed that entirely, where those were in the trigger. Definitely something you realize in post of, oh, there was quite a punch in that chain. So Void going to be probably setting a trigger up with those reds. Power 2 comes out, and Void in the nick of time, able to get just enough purples to use everything in this chain, which will be 8, and unfortunately for Shoburu, it doesn't have resources to make anything that's going to counter that. And as soon as it was almost 3-3 between these two players, it is just as quickly turned into 9-3. Void only needs one more if they want to solidify their spot in Grands, which I know they would be very excited to solidify. 1-chain Thorn, not going to cut off these resources. Launches a 3-chain, but there's a red drought on Shoburu's board. Going to need to dig down with blues, and might be able to. Where are the blues? Now we have a blue drought. The color conflicting is just so terrible on Shoburu's side. And just a little bit of extra from Void, 10-3. And Void has sealed their ticket into Grand Finals, a minimum of 2nd place. And that set buffer, again, with Puyo Puyo, can come in very, very handy if you're trying to close out a tournament win. So I think in the meantime, I assume some of the sets in Lisa's bracket have gone on a little bit. So I'll probably just be following that run through as things turn out. And so Juicy has triumphed over Ferrets, 5-1 to solidify their top 4 finish. And I think the match sequence we're going to have is Spacey versus Oz. Winner of that will then face Juicy. Winner of that will face Shoburu. And winner of that will face Void. And that will be the night for Friday Night Puyo. Also, welcome in Puzzle Wednesday. Glad to see you're hanging out with some the weekday based communities. Oh, Space vs. Odd already happened. Gotcha. Okay, so it will be all right. And so Spacey Oz was 5-0 for Spacey, so it's going to advance on to that loser semis, I think. Still going to be first to 5. But I don't believe Spacey and Juicy have gotten the chance to play each other. So this will be a brand new matchup. And even though Juicy was not able to take a game off of Shobru, it wasn't exactly an easy matchup for Spacey either. However, one of these two is going to get their run back against Shobru, and it all depends on this next set. And I believe we're going to be getting this match in pretty soon. Hopefully we won't be missing out on too much of that action. Especially since I believe this will be our last first to 5. All the rest of the sets will be first to 10. Spacey and Juice was Puyo-san Grands. Really? That is very interesting to note. Also, I'm very sad that I missed out on the Puyo-san events. Obviously, I know it's a bit of an awkward format sometimes to play through as well as spectate, but that sounds like a wonderful Puyo tournament to watch. Just with the added gimmick of Sun being not exactly something you can ignore. And so it looks like Juicy versus Spacey has begun. Alright, and it's already off to an all-clear. Very nice from Spacey. Sending that all-clear immediately, and that will be a lot for Juicy to tank. And unfortunately for them, that's going to be too much. So Spacey will take first blood, and our last first to 5 for the Knights. Are we going to see another all-clear? Alright, we're actually going to see it just from Juicy this time. Spacey does not go for the all-clear. I believe in favor of just grabbing a 4-chain. Will be pretty respectively strong. Only going to accept 3 more Puyo. However, Juicy does have more resources left on their board. So it's going to have a bit of a hard time for Spacey. That's 5 from Juicy. I think we have a... we do have a 5, actually, from Spacey. Oh, power 4, never mind. Might not have been as lethal, but the fact that all of those Puyos connected. And so I think that's equivalent of roughly 3 garbage rows for Juicy to dig through. Right now, I believe they have what looks to be a 4-chain. Beautiful job connecting all of those purples. However, it's a 5-chain coming in from Spacey, only needing to counter just a handful of extra garbage. And that is going to be essentially a full bird's worth. And Spacey goes up in the set, 2-0. So, I'm not sure exactly. I think Spacey's going to be having their trigger eventually somewhere on that right side. Kind of a elevated GTR style, but absence of yellows making that finishing blow a little bit tricky. Right now, actually has a very strong board with the... Oh, they're trying to extend. Purple's trigger on the left. This could be a huge change for Spacey as they're going to be launching it off. I don't know exactly what Juicy has in mind, but they're going to need an insanely strong extension to compete with this. That's a 10 from Spacey. 7. It's going to come down to maybe a power 8. I don't think it's going to be enough, and no, it won't be, as it takes its 3rd round, 3-0 for Spacey. And because this is still a first to 5 set, this is still a very, very tricky spot to be in. Juicy did not really like where those blues were coming into their Puyo chain. Just decided to clear them out early. And maybe we'll have a little bit of some kind of sort of new GTR maybe from Juicy if we can get enough blues. Actually, no, I think we're just leaving that trigger open on the right side. Doesn't want to cover it up. And I think Spacey has a very strong, I think, stairs into sandwich kind of deal. Oh no, there's no blues on column 6. So Juicy will let the full chain rip. That's going to be 8. I don't know how long this tail is going to be from Spacey. How much can we get in the power chain? It's only going to be a 6. It's not going to be enough. And so Juicy will take their first of the set. Ensure the no sweep. But this is still a very tight spot, especially for a match of Puyo. Only allowing your opponent to get one more game is an extremely precarious situation to be in. So, although Spacey doesn't want to give it up, you do, again, it does have a little bit more flexibility in, I guess, the option to play a little more risky. You know, it can kind of offset a game if it does so desire, just trying to go for something incredibly greedy, which at this point, that's power 2. Is this full from Spacey? I think this is full from Spacey. Okay, no, the purples actually aren't. Is that a cut? That might have been a cut. Gonna try and trigger with the blues. Will the trigger come in time? Stalling Puyo until we can make it to the blue finally happens. But I was just watching Spacey send all of those resources over to the corner. I didn't see what they had to counter, but it was not enough. 3-chain follow-up just to ensure that Juicy was able to take a round. And we are now in a 1-game set. I will say, I'm at the very least very glad we got to see what it had in the tank for that chain from Spacey. It was still terrifying just watching a single blue, just like, we need a blue, we need a blue, where's the blue, where's the blue? It is such a nerve-wracking scenario when you make that commit to this is going to be the trigger, and then it's just it's not there. Oh, okay, this is full chain, so it has enough time to look for a purple 7-chain. I believe this is going to be sufficient from Spacey. Oh, there's a cut on the yellows though. That's only a 6. Oh my goodness, and that would have been, I think, almost a 9 or 10 from Spacey. But the unfortunate cut of yellows will even the set immediately back up. So Juicy and Spacey 3-3. Whenever this makes top 3, I probably can't think of too many more ways to incorporate 3 into this bit. Yeah, that's definitely not a 3-chain. That's a 4 into a power 5. And is this a 6 from Spacey? This is a 6-chain. Gonna send an entire rock over to Juicy's board. Juicy does have some resources to dig down. She's gonna launch a 2-chain, try and get access to those greens, but Spacey already has a 3 built up and 2 more rows onto Juicy's. I think this will be enough for Spacey to take their its 4th. And so it is now 1 game away from reaching top. Is it? Well, I fumbled that one. But yeah, so Spacey on match points. Juicy at this point has won 2, but given up 1. Needs to win 2 without giving up another game. There is no other option at this point. It's either win or go home. Is this gonna be? Okay, 2-chain does come out. It does not poke the full thing from Juicy, however, it does accept a little bit of some nuisance, Puyo. Alright, I think Spacey right now doing a little bit of digging. I don't think they have the most comfortable stack on the right side, which I believe is where they want their trigger to be. And this could be full from Juicy. I believe it is. Right now, Spacey does have the time to try and make some magic happen. 7-chain, I think Spacey expected more of a tail. And we're on a deciding game in our loser semis match in order to qualify for top 3. Alright, early clear from Juicy. I don't... it's always like that foreboding feeling of, was that a bad idea? Is it going to put you behind in a lot of resources? Oh, where are these purples? Lets the 3 go. Spacey does have a trigger for its chain. 5-chain does get released. That's too much garbage, and Juicy does not have a trigger available. And so Spacey will take the set 5-4 in an absolute nail-biter. But it will be getting its run back in losers finals against Shoburu. And perhaps with the run back, it might be able to make it to grands through losers bracket and face on the hardest challenge of our bracket tonight, Void. You know, I will say I didn't actually consider the idea of Dastin Puyo as someone who much more consistently will play Tetris over Puyo. But that is important, isn't it? I don't know why that didn't click. But, yeah. Every bit of Puyo finesse. Especially at this level where most of the time you're barely going to use half your board to let loose, an 8 or 9 chain. You got to start getting their pieces down or your Puyo down as fast as humanly possible. Perhaps even inhumanly possible. All right, and I believe we will be getting our first of 10 underway between Shoburu and Spacey. Going to be quite an interesting matchup between these two. So I believe when this set happened previously, because I believe this was a winner semis match, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. And so Shoburu initially won that set 5-3, but in the first of 10, any bit of extra variance is going to go a long, long way. Especially for Shoburu's case, I would not feel very safe considering what I had seen from Spacey. Although in this case as well, Spacey just coming hot off the presses of a decider match, might be feeling a little bit hot, but also could have some of those nerves a little bit, which might make it that much more difficult to continue the losers bracket run. And I think we're slowly starting to figure out maybe we'll be getting into a spectating bit pretty shortly. But for those of you in chat, hope you've been enjoying the Friday night Puyo Puyo action, especially for those of you that are participating in the event tonight. We do thank you very much for showing off the Puyo Puyo Su expertise. And especially for those of you that prefer Su over other of the older versions of Puyo Puyo that exist. Do you have any interesting facts about it that someone who is not very knowledgeable on Puyo, that ironically still does Puyo casting every now and then? I'm all ears to any random niche bits that you have to share. I feel like once I figured out how to cook with GTR, I didn't take the time to learn much else. I took the time to understand just about everything I needed to visually follow Puyo. Well, besides Coopery stacking. It's going to take me years before I understand what Coopery decides to build with their chains. But in the meantime, I think I'll sit back and enjoy my GTR extensions every now and then. Okay, and so I think we'll be getting into our losers match pretty soon. I think we're just getting a couple of match issues out of the way. But I guess in this case, because I'm not getting the screen shared from Fightcade, but stream is, I think Twitch chat has a better idea of what's happening than I am, because I'm kind of watching on delay a little bit. But I believe we will be getting this match underway just shortly. So our top 3 seeds have made it into our top 3 spots, although I will say big shout out to Juicy for being seed 6 and still making top 4. It was not exactly the easiest match to complete there. And in fact, almost made it into top 3 over Spacey. But I guess at this point, so obviously Shoburu has taken 3 games off of Void, which is more than anyone else has gotten to in this tournament. But in Spacey's defense, 3 people have played Void. So Shoburu was the first player to start taking games off of them, which was in winners finals. All right, I believe we're going to have a little bit of a speed hump as some Fightcade logistics go underway. So that does mean that we have a little bit of time to kill, which in Puyo means could mean several rounds, could mean some very nice conversation between chat. Could also mean I spend the next 5 minutes looking at all the obscure chaining techniques on Puyo Nexus. I don't do that anymore, but there was a brief period when I was starting to get more into Puyo Puyo, especially for Puyo Puyo Tetris commentary, where I would go to Puyo Nexus when I was like mic checking and stuff, and I intentionally scrolled down to like the bottom of the chaining techniques just to see what all of those variants were. So that way, if I saw something that I didn't know, I'd at least have remembered it from the Puyo Nexus guides. Probably wasn't the most effective use of my time, especially when a good like 90% of the chains that I'm going to be watching will have GTR in some respect in them. But it was a very fun time just saying, oh, look at we've got some, was it, I think, fish stacking, right? That's the thing. At least I'm pretty sure. I'm really tempted to go to Puyo Nexus and verify. Or just, some more LLR, L-shape stacking. I feel like I don't incorporate a lot of L-shape into my chaining style, but I really love seeing, especially after like GTR or stairs, having L-shape is like that bottom row before you get to the tail of your chain. For some reason, it's one of the more satisfying chaining styles, in my opinion. Or maybe it's just because it looks a little more condensed. Oh, did I ever introduce myself? Sorry, I missed that ping. Yeah, I don't know if I did. It's a good point. Yeah, so yeah, for those who don't know as well, which I'll probably cut this short because I believe we're going to be getting into our match pretty soon. I go by Dave Tigger on Discord, Twitch, and most other places. I initially started as a moderate level Tetris player into Tetris commentator, but also was kind of built upon Puyo Puyo Tetris. So initially had some varying degrees of, do I want to play Puyo more? Do I want to play Tetris more? And it has been a very near and dear spot in my heart of hearts, whether or not I sometimes will play it more or less frequently. Very, very fun game that got me into the puzzle game community in general. And I've been very fortunate that just after being in the community for honestly not a terribly long amount of time, but being able to meet some wonderful people, especially getting to meet like Zan and S2 at Frosty Faustings for the Puyo Puyo tournaments there was just I've had an absolute blast being a part of this community. And I mean, at Frosty Faustings too, I didn't even really get to commentate that much. That was more me just as a player. But it's been fantastic interacting with all these wonderful people. So always happy to be on the broadcast, whether that's running stream, although I do that very infrequently. Usually because I have a laptop. It's not the greatest for running stream. But bracket management, casting, whatever else the tournament needs, always happy to contribute. All right, and I believe we are working on spectating the match. Void is commenting on the potential bloodshed for losers finals. I will say this is still a little bit less inconvenient than my attempts to play in the last event from Team TSD, Absolute Showdown, which was also on Fightcade. I talked with several of the Fightcade moderators trying to fix the issue on my end, and for some reason, I could not play versus on any Fightcade. So, well, I haven't really checked much in terms of other games beyond TGM. I could try to play Puyo Puyo Su and see if it works. But every time I try to queue into a versus game, I just immediately black screened. And haven't really tried Fightcade since. The single player works completely great, which has been really fun, especially because it allows me to play TGM with keyboard, which is not something that is typically the most common way to play it, but it is my most consistent. Especially just given the, rotation tables and everything else. Mm-hmm. I see. We're having some more respect. Actually, yeah. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned all the black screening that happened to me on Fightcade because now it's going to happen. Fingers crossed that we will find a way to circumvent this issue. However that may be. Not entirely certain what that will look like, but excited to see what it may. Well, I'm curious. The anticipation is really starting to kill me. We've got 2 first to 10s, potentially 3, and we're just right on the cusp of it. All right, looks like I think Ben's gonna try to restart Fightcade from their perspective, and I've been told currently the total of losers finals is 2-0 or 3-0. I'm going to be working on getting some of the spectating done. Fingers crossed on it that it will work out. And I'm not entirely sure about this one, unfortunately. I don't know. What more can I do beyond fingers crossed? Can I just cross more fingers? Does that work? Have all of my fingers crossed? I guess that's just kind of folding your hands, right? All your fingers cross each other. I don't know. I've never really thought about it like that, but yeah, I guess you could technically have what? If you just put your hands together and then kind of clamp your hands together, your fingers technically are crossing each other. Not exactly in the same nature as, crossed fingers, but it is still something. So I'm a little interested to see if that's some kind of... Oh, this bottle butter's empty. Ooh. Let's see, are we giving it another go? Some more, knock on wood, everything else for the best of luck. And having the technology function as intended. Oh, come on! Ah! Oh, man. I do find it kind of weird that it just now started to have some kind of thing with it. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of intense gameplay that's happening right now. Oh. Hold. Oh, alright. We've got visual. Confirmed. We have visual. We have visual on Shoburo versus Spacey. Alright, it is, okay, there we go. It's on the stream too. Perfect. Let's go. So 5-1, and I think, as Notester mentioned, yeah, we definitely have some back and forths going, but right now, Spacey looks like they're going to be getting its second win. So both players, both are doing a fantastic job. However, Shoburo has gotten halfway through. We've got the all-clear starts. One of the most nerve-wracking parts of playing Puyo Puyo is how do you deal with the instant all-clear? I think even though everyone knows what you're, in theory supposed to do, it's still nerve-wracking. Oh my goodness, and Shoburo is going to find another all-clear after a 5-chain, 2-chain follow-up. Loses the interaction. Alright, lets that all-clear go off. Spacey seems to have built vertical in an attempt to make sure its stack was still accessible. Alright, Thorn with the power 1. And it looks like it's going to be its full chain. Oh, but this is a huge power from Shoburo. Everything gets launched in a 4-chain. About as lethal as a 4-chan thread. Well, no, Spacey. Spacey, it's still alive. It's still alive. Okay, not gonna... Yeah, Reds were not gonna spin over, unfortunately. Okay, but 6-2 right now. It's gotta be very, very careful at this point. Shoburo has already won the first to 5 with an even more commanding lead than previously. Alright, and again, Shoburo with this technique building up really high over on the right side. Almost as like a giant tail, but also a disruption kind of dual purpose. But I feel like it's extremely risky because it doesn't give you a lot of an ability to extend on that left side. As we can see from Spacey's board, gets that 8-chain. We see the 7 comes out from Shoburo, but it's not enough, and they used almost all of their resources to do so. And the follow-up 4 from Spacey will solidify that game 9 with a 6-3. Okay, and it looks like, so Kirby as well informing me, splitting Puyos is so much more punishing in this game. I will say, I was looking to see if there were gimmicks of the original Puyo Su that were not the same as some of the modern versions of Su's iterations. Good to know that the splitting Puyos does function differently. Well, it functions the same, but it's mechanically different. Just, I mean, you know, it's a different game. But alright, so Shoburo takes another. We're 10 games in, and it's 7-3. This is going to be a really difficult uphill battle for Spacey if it wants to emerge victorious. Let me see. There's the couple of one chains back and forth, just cleaning up the stack. I'm not sure what it wants to go for at the moment. Oh, are we going to extend with purples? Spacey debating about another extension. I believe just letting the full chain rip. It's a lot of Puyo's getting used early on in this chain. But that will be some extra damage for a 9 chain total. And I don't think Shoburo has enough of the chain built up that they can counter fully. And so things starting to go a little bit more in Spacey's favor. 2 games in a row. Doubles their win count for 7-4. Once again, we see Shoburo going with the tried and true GTR into a bit of sandwich with a hybrid tail. Not really exactly certain. Oh, that's not the full. It's going to cut on 4. However, that will catch Spacey off guard. I believe Spacey was expecting the full. And so perhaps maybe a bit of a calculated assessment from Shoburo, keeping this win rate at just around 2/3. All they need is 2 more, and the trip back to Grands is theirs. Old 6 chain from Shoburo. We do see the full from Spacey. I believe this should be a 6 chain in entirely. Yeah, the blues are not going to connect. Only about 3 or 4 rows from Shoburo, but they did a very good job building up tall to keep their resources alive. I don't know if we're going to see a big chain out of it, but at the very least, Shoburo does have some life in it. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful use of the garbage. Puyo gets the 4 chain. However, we are seeing a 7 come out from Spacey, and I don't believe Shoburo has the resources to build up that high that quickly. Oh, that's what it is. Submarine chain, yeah. Submarine chain and tournament. Not exactly the most common. I assume many would argue not the most optimal, but it is not exactly a dead chaining form. You gotta respect it. Alright, power 1 into 2, which will be over 2 rows of garbage. 2 chain comes out from Spacey as Spacey begins to start digging down. Very nice power 1 into 2. Shoburo does have a 2 chain. Fires back, it's a perfect neutralize. And I think at this point, there's a little more comfort right now for Spacey. Oh no. They're getting even more garbage, Puyo. 2 chain. I don't know if it's going to be enough. We see a 4 chain from Shoburo. Spacey's going to need to launch a full chain, and it's not going to launch in time. And we are 9 games to 5. Spacey is going to have to do the equivalent of a 1st to 5 sweep if they want to, or excuse me, if it wants to advance into grand finals. Shoburo only needs 1 more game, and it can get the run back versus Void, which was a bit difficult. But if you do recall, it did keep Void at 3-3 early on for that set. Oh, huge power 2. 2 chain from Shoburo, but still going to accept about a row of garbage. Not sure exactly what we have cooking. We do see the 3 from Spacey. Shoburo is not able to get to a nuisance chain in time. And so we've got 9 to 6. That's one for Spacey. They're going to need 4 more, but can they ride this momentum? Alright, very distinct lack of purples. And Shoburo with so much of that early color, letting through a couple of strong 2 chains. Gonna try and lock out Spacey before it even has a chance to dig down. There's still a little bit of a rough spot. What is this extension from Spacey? I think that's way too greedy. And especially with Shoburo on match point, that will solidify the win. 10-6 between Shoburo and Spacey. I think actually the perfect ratio. We had 3-5 followed by 10-6. But for Shoburo now, all of the pressure is going to be on them. They can no longer lose another set. And there's only one player left in this tournament that's threatening their chance at victory. But it is the strongest competitor that we have tonight, the one and only Void. Especially renowned in a lot of the Friday night Puyo Puyo Tetris events. Just basically always seems to be in the top 3 wherever they go. And it doesn't matter whether you have, top Puyo talent, the niche Puyo builds, lightning fast Tetris, or extremely efficient plays regardless of game mode. Void just always seems to know exactly how to come out of these tournaments and out of these situations on top. So especially with them having a set buffer, this is a very scary position, I think, for Shoburo to be in. But again, perhaps after getting their own its own first to 10 win, maybe there'll be a little bit more momentum under Shoburo's wings that it might be able to stand quite a bit formidable in the face of someone like Void. This is, though I will say, going to be a Herculean task. Even just winning one set alone, I do think the odds are stacked against, but one set can very easily lead to another. It is Puyo Puyo. Taking a little bit of some little teensy water break as well while I'm at it. So those of you in chat, make sure to also stay hydrated. It is very good to drink a lot of water. I know personally around where I am at, the climate I was in was a perpetual heat wave for about a week and a half. So water was a very, very important part of my diet. Starting to not notice the drawbacks as much because it is no longer, nearing triple digits in Fahrenheit. I forget what the conversion is in Celsius, but it's probably like mid-30s. Or low to mid-30s, I don't know. Yeah, it's like I know it's not exactly like a comfortable temperature for a lot of people, but I saw a forecast that didn't have anything above 90 and squealed. that is how happy I am to not have 90s anymore. It was a predicted 7-day stretch of no 90-degree Fahrenheit. And I was like, let's go! Finally! Sorry, I'm Midwest weather pilled. I'm not used to excessive heat usually. Especially with the Great Lakes nearby. They're supposed to do a good job at regulating temperature, but sometimes, depending on where you go, it could be could be a bit extreme. Yeah, I assume Vegas is also probably not a lot of temperature regulation. Yeah. 120 just sounds that is no, I'm not showing up for work. Sorry. I'm afraid my umbrella will combust. Not to say that I've seen it. It probably won't happen at 120, but I would still be terrified of it. I'm trying to think if what is the hottest temperature that I've had to deal with? I don't think I can even come up with a number. I think it's just once it's over 100, that's like you usually don't see that much unless there's like a heat burst. I think out of the Midwest. So it's more like, oh wow, it peaked over 100. Stay inside. Not really much else to do there. Because it doesn't really peak beyond that. I don't think I've ever seen 110 in the Midwest. At least from my own personal experience. Perhaps with like heat index plus like direct sunlight, it probably had like a feels like 110. But, well, especially with humidity as well. Sometimes the humidity can make the heat a lot harder to deal with. But beyond that, I don't think I've seen 110 ever. It's definitely gotten close. I feel like I've had at least a 107 or maybe a 108. But I don't believe I've ever had to sustain 110. Usually, if it gets anywhere close to mid-90s, I mean, generally, I'm used to starting to have adverse effects from heat when it's like above 83, which I know is not great. Just to put into perspective of how bad I am with heat, usually like low 80s is where it starts to get a bit excessive for me. So when the forecast keeps telling me, oh yeah, it's going to be like 95, 97, it's just that is like I am staying in the shade the entire week. No direct sunlight, still wearing sunscreen, just no. Okay, all right, and it looks like we after this little bit of a heatwave rant, I believe we're getting into our next match, which potentially could be our final match. This will be yet another first to 10 between Void and between Shoburu. Alright, a lot of early reds deciding to show their face. I think there's going to be a need for a couple more of those blues. Void finishing up that tail very swiftly. Very strong Thorn from Shoburu will send an entire row over to Void. Is going to have to be a little bit careful with how they dig through. 4-chain from Shoburu, very nicely timed, but I believe Void's... No, Void didn't actually have the full chain. They just had to make sure the power was enough. And fortunately, with all of that extra foresight, in the nick of time, Void, even with a 6-chain follow-up, wow, my goodness. And unfortunately, it has nothing in the reservoir. Shoburu succeeds as Void takes game 1. Let's see, what is the 4th color we have for chaining? We're doing some... Oh, wait, no, never mind. There are 4 colors. I didn't see the blues for a second. I was like, what is the... What is the extra color we have? I was like, I don't think we're playing on beginner mode of just 3 color chaining. Which I will say, like, I know if for like when the game is in like tutorial mode and like for beginners. Oh, and Shoburu actually just immediately taking that run from Void. But I know especially like when you start out with Puyo, the game will usually have you train with only 3 colors. And I get that part of the point is also it wants to at least make sure you can get, you know, your 1-chain, your 2-chain, and not top out immediately. But I feel like making a long chain with 3 colors is really, really difficult. Because it kind of limits what chaining options you have. That was an insanely efficient 4 that nearly all cleared from Shoburu. And... it's now in the advantage sheet 2-1. A lot of early purples. I believe we're going to be seeing stairs from Void. Pending this whole... Oh, no. We got sandwich? I believe we got sandwich now. We need 1 more green to finish that one off. Oh, no. Is that... Oh, wait, no. That's 3-chain. Okay. For a second, I thought Void was trying to set up for full chain and then missed it. This will be a 5-chain with 5-chain, but it's a power with all of those greens. And that's actually so much garbage to Shoburo that Void will take yet another. Even though the chain length was the same, Void was so much more ready to deliver a punishing blow. Okay, it looks like we got a little bit of L shape with kind of a mix of, well, I guess maybe if the trigger, is trigger right side? I feel like if trigger's on left side for Shoburo, this is like a reverse version of new GTR. Well, it kind of needs to be now. We need a trigger. Okay, thankfully Shoburo had a pretty good idea of making that work, but unfortunately did not get the rest of the chain with it for the tail. Void only up by 1 game, but we saw previously in winners finals that they can take 1 win a lot further if left unchecked. And I believe now, as I've said that, no, that's not new GTR. Well, it's about to be new GTR. With some not as frequent color conflicts. But we do see the 8-chain from Shoburo. Void does not have a good way to recover the stack very quickly. And we've got 3-3. Once again, between Void and Shoburo. Oh, we got an all-clear start. Oh, and actually, Void gets it a little bit quicker. And going to be forcing that trade. He's not going to be messing around with that, trying to build vertically. No siree. Just going to get off that chain. And a 3-chain all clear. Let's see. Does Shoburo have anything substantial? No, they do not. And actually gets trapped between columns 2 and 4. Holy. And I can see Riona got here in such a perfect time. Immediately shows up and a all clear is manifested onto the Matrix. Sometimes all it takes is the first 2 Puyo pairs. Sometimes it's a little bit more thought-provoking than that. And it looks like a 5-chain poke from Shoburo. And I think Void wasn't expecting that much of a gambit. And Shoburo already doing better than their last first to 10, but it's still only 4 wins between both players. Okay, and we'll see if it's got anything else planned. The reds might be a little bit awkward to extend with. There's not a lot of reds coming in. And I think for Void, because of where they needed those reds posted in their tail, this is not the greatest spot to trigger from. Wait, never mind. Extending through the bottoms, the purple still connects for the insult to injury. And Void recovers nearly that entire chain. And we can see once again, we have the all clear starts. Interesting to note though, Shoburo isn't going for the all clear to be entirely set up for column 3. I'm not certain if that's just because they're waiting to see if they get another double colors. It's kind of, you know, get like as much out of that all clear as you possibly can. But it is something to consider that's already happened twice, even in just this this first 10 matches. All right, 5-chain out from Void. Huge power 3 from Shoburo. So many Puyos connecting at once. And that still lost the interaction. And Void, 4-chain, leaves only 2 Puyo left. Shoburo does not have an answer. So that is, I believe, 2 or 3 straight from Void. For Shoburo, this could be a sticky situation. You cannot let Void grab any more momentum. We're seeing GTR versus L-shape. Very nice placement on those greens as well. Wait. Okay, yeah, purple's, yeah, so triggers right now are Blue for Void. Where's the blues from Void? They're not there in time. And I believe all it needed was about a 4 or 5 chain from Shobaru. And that's 5 wins for Shobaru. Void's at 6. This could go to bracket reset. This is not out of the realm of possibility. This isn't, oh, you know, the caster has to try and make it exciting. No, this very well could realistically go to a bracket reset. Oh my goodness, Void was so close to an all clear. Bets it all, but Shobaru is not ready for such a strong 4 chain. And 7-5 right now for Void, trying to give themselves a little bit more wiggle room. They do not want to let the stakes get any higher than this. All right, and Void currently working on finishing up a little bit of the tail. Has some room. They're going to need 1 purple, I believe, in column 1 to fully flesh this out. I think just going to let this go as a 4 chain. But there's a row of garbage that they're going to have to clear out, which might make things a little bit more difficult. Oh, they're going to use the green for column 1 to trigger the greens below on the bottom. That's so smart of an adaptation. And not going to be a 4 chain from Shobaru, but it is going to be enough damage that will cut off Void's chain. And the big brain solve was not get actualized. It's 7-6 right now in grand finals from this first to 10. So I think we've got a little bit more of some good old stairs builds. Actually going to commit a pretty substantial amount of resources on Void's board. I think that's a 4 from Shobaru. I don't know if I agree with that decision. And Shobaru has a 4 at the ready. Void needs to build a 4 chain out of thin air. What is the answer? It is unfortunately only a 1 chain, and we're tied up at 7-7. It is now a 1-3 in Puyo Puyo Stew. And for Shobaru, I mean, it's been popping off this set with some of these incredibly quick, just, you know, even some of the, you know, if you decide to go for a 4 chain poke, especially for someone like Void, Void may just assume that's the full chain and try to out-snuff it. But that is not the correct play in those. Oh, really nice 3 chain there from Void. Keeps the GTR build consistent. And, hold on. Is this tail battle? Oh no, not everything gets used from Shobaru's board. Void goes up in advantage, 8-7. This is such a close set. Here we go, speed level 3 once again. We've got the Christmas colors, green and red to start. I believe Void will be starting once again, bringing up the GTR. Shobaru as well, but that's a really tall column too. And we can see they were not the most comfortable with it as they decided to go for a power 2. And Void is in dire need of some greens to keep this alive, but that's a 4 chain fallout from Shobaru, expertly timed. Void has a 2, but it's not enough to dig out. And I believe we are at 8-8. Shobaru needs 2 more, and it can push it to a bracket reset. But obviously, in Void situation, you don't want to let it get to a decider. Just close it out here if possible. Only 2 reds have shown. Finally, we can trigger something with the reds. Feels like an... Oh, wait, this is an all-clear build from Void. I was about to say. Kind of felt a little awkward, but there's an 8 chain coming in from Shobaru. The all-clear risk is not going to pay off as Shobaru hits match points. 1 more game, and we're off to bracket reset. And despite that Void, I don't think they had a lead greater than 2 matches. Shobaru is trying to match that when it matters most. where you do see a very nice tail finish coming out from Void. Gonna keep extending. Right now, Shobro, I'm not sure. I think they're just building up full chain. This might be a full chain battle from both. And I think this is going to be the full chain from Shobro. I think this is a power 10, maybe? Void's going to have to trigger with the blues. Trying to avoid any large cuts. Power 3. 5, 6. Oh my goodness, what a finish on that left side. As we have the 11 chain comes out, it is going to be enough. Shobro is going to need about a 6 or 7 to counter. And unfortunately, they will not find it. They do survive the initial attack, but it's so much so that Void is going to win that round. And we are on a game 19 in Grand Finals. This is not exactly what I was expecting when I decided to help out with the Fightcade tournament tonight. But my goodness, I am here for this action. This is a really low part of the board for Shobro on that left side. I think they're just going to let their tail go immediately. It's a 7 chain. We see power 5. That's not going to be enough. Shobro wins the deciding game 10-9 over Void. And that's a bracket reset from Shobro. And what a performance it put on against our number 1 seed. Only lost 3 games all day and now has lost the first of 10. The set buffer is gone. It all comes down to our bracket reset true finals between Shobro and Void. I will say, though, Void is no stranger to kind of gracing out those comebacks from the jaws of defeat. So this is still something that Shobro has to keep in mind. Void sometimes can perform at an elite level, even with their back against the wall. But one set away from an upset over Void after winning the last set 10-9, it's an opportunity that I don't think Shobro is going to let pass it up anytime soon. This is just my good... I don't know. This is just... Holy. And I think we're getting into the set here. Just a second. Okay, and fingers crossed as we continue through. Currently working on the and Void with the comment, found the bloodshed. I will say that it's not exactly like it was trying to cook pasta on stream, but gotta watch this. Well, so that does remind me of the overcooked spaghetti copy pasta that was results of, I believe it was the Tetrio World Championships. In that format, there's a +2 rule that's implemented because sometimes the games go incredibly fast. So in order to win the set, you have to win by a difference of 2. And in some of the sets, some players unintentionally prolong the set beyond what is perceived to be reasonable. I think longest I've had to cast was 17-15 out of a first to 11 +2. And longest ever that I've seen, I think it happened twice, was 19-17 in a couple of first to 11s. But yeah, that can lead to some crazy stuff. Especially if you're expecting the stream to end at one point in time, and the set goes twice as long as intended. Well, I guess because of the deuce roll, we haven't actually had fully twice as long as the actual set. That would have to be a 22-20. I mean, if we ever made it to that spot, that would be that would be a very historic moment, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't feel like actually. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day because I was having some chicken tenders with some sauce, right? I don't remember. Actually, no, I do remember. It was, I think, a youth group meeting I went to that was having a Super Bowl watch party where I tried buffalo sauce for the first time. And I don't know why I feel this way about buffalo sauce, but I have an active love-hate relationship at the same. It's not like I go from loving it one second to hating the other. I like simultaneously will love and hate buffalo like chicken dip every single time I eat it. And for some reason, because I have that like that style of like, it boggles my mind. So I'm like, you know what? I'll have more buffalo sauce today. I want to feel the paradox again. I don't know how else to like explain it. I think the reason why is I like the flavor of buffalo chicken dip and buffalo sauce, but it has enough of a kick where, because I have little to no spice tolerance, like I just rolled the short end of the stick in terms of like dealing with spice well. I get a really huge spice kick out of buffalo sauce, even though I know it's not really like intended to be terribly spicy. That I don't like the spice I get from it, but for some reason it like amplifies the flavor for me. Because it's not at the spot where which, especially for like most people, I don't think you really get to that point because it's not that it's more of like a duller spice compared to some others, right? Or maybe I'm just having the wrong buffalo sauce. I don't know. But there's a sweet spot, I think, when you have any kind of spicy food where you get more out of the flavor. And for some reason, buffalo like dip just hits that like Goldilocks zone perfectly almost every single time. And I still hate spicy food, but I'm going to eat it anyways because I like the flavor that it provides. And so I will forever be utterly confused by buffalo chicken sauce, I think, until I die. But I'm just going to keep having it to like one day pray that I will fully understand it. Oh, okay, and I believe we now have the match on stream. A little recess in between sets is now finished. Huh. All right, I guess we might be waiting down the lobby time. We'll have to see. Ooh. Oh, okay, all right. I think things got remade temporarily. We'll be going back into it shortly. Mm-hmm. I see. So you need a lot of spice. I need to figure out how to like quantify spice more by with like the Scoville heat units, because there's a lot of like spicy food that I'll try or like I'll have like on me that I'm like told roughly where it's at spice wise, but I don't have like an objective list of where those spicy things are. Like one of my favorites that because there's a spot pretty near to me when I'm away for the semester. I think it's called Dave's Hot Chicken, and it is not it is not hot compared to like diehard spicy food, like people that like go out and seek what are the spiciest foods I can find in my area, right? Like, I know especially if you go to places with a lot of like Indian cuisine I know is like really that can go really spicy. Like it's not going to hold its own compared to some of that, or like even just probably a habanero pepper. But technically, extremely spicy peppers are involved in the hottest spice level, so you still have to like sign a waiver if you get their like spiciest chicken tender or whatever. I really enjoy their spicy chicken. Not the hottest levels. I think I usually stick with medium, because if I go beyond hot, I just feel miserable the next day. I will probably need to get back into used to trying to eat it, because I'm going to try and see if I can do a content bit for WPLC this year, where Moose and I have some kind of spicy food during like a transition. Because we initially, after square one of 2023, were supposed to have a couple of donation incentive goals. And the first one was supposed to be the one chip challenge. But that got pulled from shelves literally like 2 months afterwards because of someone that had health complications from it. So we were not able to do that. But I never forgot that like we met those donation goals. So I still want to make sure that that gets done at some point, right? Like people deserve to have the content. Was that a 3? It was only I feel like the 3 just caught Void a lot more unexpectedly off guard than I was anticipating. And Shoburu has already taken game 1. Ooh. Yeah, gonna need a green. Shoburu actually dangerously close to an all clear. Power 2 right now from Void. Void showing that they can also do a couple of poke chains. Wow, the power 2 from Shoburo still gets snuffed out so much that they receive 2 rows of garbage. Void spends all their resources, gets a 5 chain off, and Shoburo is not able to build defense in time. And so it is 1-1. We've got a set. And I think for Shoburo is trying to figure out what it wants for its current stack. This is definitely I think the attempt at GTR, but not a lot of great colors to go off of. Alright, gonna need one more purple. Reds will trigger, but column 2 could get snuffed out really easily. Thankfully for it. Oh no! Okay, no, they're actually gonna use those blues. I didn't even consider that. It was very smart. 4 chain from Void. Does not realize that entire trail is going to work out from Shoburo as a power chain. Ending at 8. And Void does not have the time to build up a counter. And so it will get its second. 2-1 right now between Shoburo and Void. I think Void waiting on a little more L shape, but where are the blues? Finally looks like they've gotten around to it. In the meantime, Void trying to get as much out of that awkward building as possible. Went and built a power 2, but Shoburo had a power 3. And what a Hellfire chain on 2. And Shoburo right now is up 3-1 over Void in our true final set. Shoburo once again is going for tried and true GTR. Void trying to stick with some more L shape. Gets a really early 3-chain off. Just gambles a bit trying to cut off Shoburo. And I think that might have worked out. All the 3-chain just barely in the nick of time. Shoburo still able to dig down a little bit. This is a risky business to be in. A yellow, I believe, will trigger about a 3-chain. It's power 2. They lose the interaction, though. All of that power from Void is going to work wonders. Void's looking for a green to trigger. No green to trigger. And the greens are now cut off. 2-chain comes out, but Void still needs a way to trigger those greens. And fortunately for them, that extra garbage will top out Shoburo before they're able to get out. Alright, we've got some 3-color chaining. Finally, the green decides to show its face. And I think Void going for some new GTR. Meanwhile, Shoburo going for the tried and true variant. It's a little bit awkward right now on that left-hand side. Shoburo's going to have to go for a couple of extra clears. But Void as well was not in the greatest of spots. Could be working on a little bit of some sandwiching. Needs a green. Wonderful job placing those purples, ensuring that that green and purple got as much use out of it as possible. And we have a 9-chain all clear from Void. Shoburo is not able to prepare anything strong enough to counter the 9, much less the all clear bonus that follows. And we are once again at a 3-3 situation. In Winners Finals, this turned into 3-10 for Void. In Grand Final Set 1, this turned into 10-9 for Shoburo. Oh, good. Huge power 2 from Shoburo. I believe this is the full chain from Void. How much will we see out of this tail? I believe we're going to see 11. What a fantastic 2-on-1 to finish off that tail. And just, I mean, look at how efficient. Left 4 Puyo on the board. 2 Puyo pairs. Everything else was used for maximum impact in extending that chain. Oh, this could be a really strong 2-chain. Is Void going to let it rip? I believe so. Huge 2-chain into 3. And oh wait, is this a? This is an 8-chain all clear response from Shoburo. And although Void has a little bit, there's a 4-chain that is not going to hold its own. I'll nearly back-to-back rounds, 9-chain all clear from Void to win a round, followed by Shoburo 8-chain all clear to win a round. I believe we got some sandwich to start off. Very strong 2-chain that will make clearing out that yellow in column 1 a bit more of a chore than it needs to be. Trying to use the reds to help dig down with it. And Void able, beautiful option of getting that yellow-green. Manages to get their resources in the nick of time. Oh, very strong 2 into 3 from Void. Oh my goodness, Shoburo gets to 3 reds, but the 4th one doesn't come in time. And so Void reaches the halfway point, 5-4. Remember, I'm pretty sure this is what happened last set as well, and Shoburo brought it back. Alright, we have the power 2 versus 3-chain all clear. A difference of 1 garbage. And we are now back to even Steven, the exact same amount of Puyo on the board as well. Players looking for the all clear. Void finds it, and so does Shoburo, but Shoburo finds it on a 4-chain as opposed to a 3. The ball is in their court. 2-chain also going to do some extra damage. Oh, Void, I believe, is going for a purple trigger. Is greeting for some blues right now. I'm not sure if they'll show up in time. Finally, there's the double blue. Yellows do a little bit of cutting, so it's only a 2. But I believe Shoburo gets locked off in columns 2 and 4. And Void takes yet another. It's 6-4. And I believe since winners finals, this set difference has not exceeded 2. Void trying to break out of the script and push things to a 7-4 lead. They want every advantage they can get now to prevent Shoburo from making a counter. Power 2 does come out. Void going to accept the garbage. Purples are still online. I believe Void is going to try to... Might be extending with the reds? No, just sending a 2 chain for now. Void, I can avoid Void's in like transit right now of do I extend or do I make like a 2 chain on top trying to poke? And right now it looks like Void has gotten a little bit well, I don't want to say impatient because I mean look at this 10 chain and Shoburo only has an 8, so that is not going to work out. Void manages to claw their way to a 3-game advantage, 7-4. And this could be yet another story of Void finding their way to the throne, even if it is through either a bracket reset or a losers finals run. I mean, sometimes it's really difficult to win without dropping a single set. But I feel like I also haven't seen players nearly get as many consistent results after coming from losers bracket or, you know, going through losers bracket in order to what is this extension? Okay, Void doing a little bit of cleanup on that left. Shoburo. I think might be going, is that sandwich, I think, with the yellow? That one's going to probably have to be like a pseudo L shape if they want to extend the full chain. Oh, and that red made that hard to place there as well. I guess green could trigger? I don't see the vision. I think they Shoburo needs a red in column 6, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Wait, no, it's gonna trigger from the backside of the chain as well. Plus the reds don't connect. I guess it's one of the stronger ways to at least use what's still left of that chain, but it was not the greatest situation to be in. And right now it's 8-5 for Void, with what I believe is at least 3 games in a row. One chain cleanup from Shoburo. I think Void right now trying to build up that tail on the left side. Actually going to bail out a little early for a 3 chain. But Shoburo commits resources to get a 5 chain off. And Void, I believe, needed either 2 reds or 2 blues for trigger, neither of which will come in a readily available amount of time. So Shoburo still keeping its tournament run alive, 6-8. Especially with Void on 8 wins, you can only give up 1 more. Oh my goodness, and perfect placement of those greens as well. Oh, 3 chain from Shoburo. And Void not able to get enough resources down. It's 7-8 between Void and Shoburo in our true final set, mind you. We could be in a 1-2 situation if Shoburo is able to pick up another win. Oh, really nice power 2 And it leads into a 4-chain all-clear from Shoburu, spending no expense. Oh, but it's a 6-chain. Oh, no, that column 2 is really tall, and so is column 3. And despite the wise choice of finding an all-clear, it does not work out as Void is able to simply overpower. And so now Shoburu has its back against the wall. Needs to get 3 straight wins if it wants to win Friday Night Puyo on Fightcade for what I believe is the first time Friday Night Puyo has had a Fightcade event. I don't know how much prestige is on the line for winning this event, but there's definitely something. Alright, 3-chain to answer 3-chain. Shoburu just going to immediately let loose on that right side. The tail doesn't work, but the play does. And Shoburu is at 8 wins against Void. 2 more would do it. Which, especially for this case, that would be 2 Game 19 wins against Void in order to win a tournament? I mean, that is, that would be... Oh, but here we go. Void, though, has power 4 into 5-6. What does Shoburu have? No, the yellows... Oh, no, the purples! That will allow the yellows to connect. We do have a volley going. An 8-chain from Shoburu. And Void does not have enough. We're on to another Game 19. 38 rounds played in grand finals for 2 first to 10s. You can see Shoburu holds off a little bit, wants to be 130% sure of where they place those first couple Puyo pairs. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. And I don't think, I'm going to be completely honest as well, I don't think I've ever seen anyone put Void this much on the ropes. Oh my goodness. A little early cut from Void. It will make a 6-chain. Does Shoburu have enough resources? I think this might be a 6-chain exactly. Oh my goodness. And Void finds an all clear. That's going to retaliate with just over 5 rows of garbage. Shoburu needs to build something now before Void gets another chain off. That's going to be 5 more rows of garbage. But column 3 is too high. And about as close as it could get. The consistency and the clutch of Void PH reigns supreme once again. And quite literally 1 game away between Void and oh my god. Honestly, yeah, Void has plot armor. If you need a clip, Void like that, Void just yeah, 100%. Like Shoburu turned on another level for that grand final set that we did not get to see from them in winner side. And it nearly took down one of the most consistent players in the Western Puyo scene. The problem is, every time that happens, when Void's on the other side, it's an almost. I don't understand, especially for the way Puyo Puyo works, how Void is always able to come out. I mean, not exactly unscathed. I mean, that is definitely like a few we're not trying that again moments. But I don't know how you're able to do that time and time again. The number of tournaments where I've seen Void either go into losers early and bring it through a bracket reset, or make it to winners, have a bracket reset, and barely scrape together a true finals win, is absurd to me. But they never seem to lose it when all the pressure happens in those last few moments. The most consistent thing in the world is that Void is not getting threatened at all. one of the great mysteries of the Western Puyo scene. But smoke is cleared. Void is your first Friday Night Puyo Puyo champion with the Fightcade format for the original Puyo Puyo Su. But I will say for Shobru, that is one of the craziest performances I have seen, especially against Void and everyone else that's been participating in this tournament as well. Like, please do give it up to Shobru to what I believe is the closest I've seen Void to. I don't want to say like, oh wow, Void lost the tournament, but like Void has so much plot armor that it kind of is like that sometimes, where it's like, oh wow, Void was 5 games away from losing in True Finals. Void was 3 games away. Void was 1 game away from losing in True Finals after going with a buffered set from Winners Finals. But plot armor is something different. I don't know how it works and where it comes from, but Void has figured out the secret sauce. So, that's oh man, it never ceases to amaze me how Puyo Puyo tournaments, the intensity is always at 11 once you get to top 8 and top 4 in a lot of circumstances. And I think it's because it's always moments like these that keep viewers on edge. Just, yeah. So, I'll recap one more time. So, congrats to our top 3 for today. So, we had Spacey as well with a very strong showing, winning a decider in losers semis to qualify for top 3 for losers finals. Shobru with an absolutely maddening impressive performance, bringing Void all the way to 2 deciders, almost winning them both. And once again to Void, that win set buffer was the difference they needed to clutch it out, clutch up, and take the tournament by storm. And another win for Void under their belts. I can't wait to see what they'll be playing in next, and potentially what more plot armor shenanigans they will have as yet another strong Puyo talent rises to the top to face one of the greats. Welcome in, Zen. I apologize you haven't done a lot of speaking. I know you can take it away from here. I still can't believe Grand Finals went to 38 games. 38! I don't think I've ever seen a Grand Finals with that happen. Like, it went to decider on both games? Like, I guess just sure, I'll do regular plugs. So unfortunately, with my inconsistent internet for the next couple of weeks, I probably won't be streaming very much, but I do a lot of Tetris related content on my stream. If you're trying to catch more of my commentary, whether that be for Puyo or Tetris events, or potentially even things like Topplepop, Puzzle Kingdom is probably where you'll find me. I think tomorrow at 7 Eastern, I'll be helping out with a big Tetris event called Washing Machine, which should be on Stacking Arena's channel. Most of the time, if you look at puzzle game orgs, especially Tetris orgs, you'll find me somewhere in there. Also, just on Discord as the Table Tigger. If you DM me, I'll probably get back to you if you need any inquiries. So.
Oh, sorry. Was I muted?
Oh.
Can you guys hear me now?
Might have to. I mean, I heard you loud and clear. I guess maybe stream didn't.
Okay, yeah. I guess I did not have my mic set up correctly in OBS. Love when that happens. Anyways, yeah. Sorry guys, I didn't get a whole lot get a chance to do any commentary because I actually have COVID right now, which is poggers. But yeah, so you can find Davo where he just talked about. You can find me on, well, I don't use Twitter much anymore. You can find me at Zanverse. You can also find me on Blue Sky at zan.puyo.us. I don't know if I'll be running more of these in the future. We'll kind of see what happens. That spectate lag kind of sucks, but I guess that's just the thing that happens because it also happens on normal Puyo games. So, but we got some hype matches out of it, anyways.
The players and the talent coming through. So,
yeah, I don't actually know if there are any like big Puyo tournaments coming up. I haven't heard much come in the pipeline.
I guess you could, if you want to count WPLC, you could kind of, but I know that's more of like, I think there's a swap bracket on the Friday and then mixed versus. But as far as like Puyo only brackets, might have to look into that.
Yeah, I mean, well, mixed versus is like half. So if swap is half a Puyo game and mixed versus half a Puyo game, that's like one Puyo game, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, swap is my favorite because you can go to like legitimately, and I think I mentioned this to you as well when I was at Frosty. I played a swap bracket at Snow's Infinite, full of a ton of Tetris players. Puyo was my win condition. I go to Frosty Faustings, a lot of Puyo players. Tetris is my win condition. It just swaps game mode depending on who you're playing. It's really fun.
All right. That said, okay, let's try to find somebody to raid. I can only find one person streaming Puyo right now, so let's go and do that. Let's see. /raid. Raid has been created. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see if we can get more Puyo tournaments going in the future. But until then, see y'all later.
Bye-bye for now.
See ya.